So the bottom-up experience is used a lot in the NeuroVizr process. It doesn't mean top-down is bad. It is different, but actually it's a little bit like the yin and yang. They really dance together. And the early concepts were psychological, now they're physiological, and it's a very, very hot topic scientifically. So even though I'm presenting it in kind of stripped down simplicity, it's pretty complicated stuff. And anybody that studies the brain that makes a claim that they know how the brain works, I don't know why they would say that. We're learning. Okay, so the bottom up is something that it kind of, like what you see is what you get. The bottom up. It assumes no prior learning. Also, so importantly, this rising flow of information also impacts our emotional state. It impacts memory. It drives right into what's called the paleo-mammalian brain, like the old brain, as I've been saying. Also, it is a strong effector on the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic, the parasympathetic. This is really powerful stuff. So here's all this information that comes up. Then it eventually gets into the new brain. This is a stripped down simplification of the theory. It gets into the new brain, and then the new brain takes this information and organizes it. So the top down is prior learning. The bottom up is brand new learning. This is a kind of, to use mechanical, it's like a piston that has neurological power. Many of the methods used in neuroplastic change have been top-down. The top-down is more, this is really important, it's more conceptual. It's more about concepts. And the bottom-up is more about perceptual. It's more perceptions. So perceptions lead to conceptions. And then these concepts try to help you relate to your ongoing perceptions. It's a very complementary relationship that goes on. So my interest is in maximizing the bottom up and integrating it with the top down. And that fits very nicely into entropic brain model. There's even another brain model called the anarchic brain. Like anarchy means no leader. So that what it means is that when the brain leaves the common secondary consciousness of everyday prediction and goes up into the discovery of primary consciousness, that when it does that, it's like it loses its leader. Monarchy means one leader. Monarchy, right? Anarchy means no leader. So the brain goes into this kind of this leaderless state where it's open to explore and understand and then return harvesting that. We'll talk more about that a little bit further on, but you know, it's the easiest thing in the world to do this. All I have to do is ask you a why question. Like, why are you here in Thailand? And what happens, unless you're politically trained to never answer a question but just take it as an opportunity to say what you want, if you're like a person, that pause when you seek the answer, right? You leave the secondary and you go into the primary where you have a disordered, uncertain, and you go through your memories and then you retreat and come back down again. So it's very important to understand that the common secondary consciousness and the uncommon primary consciousness are both natural and normal. Because a state is uncommon does not make it abnormal. That's really important to understand. Just because a state is uncommon doesn't mean it's abnormal. So, in the terminology, oftentimes the concept is an altered state of consciousness. Altered means it's changed from your common state. But the fact is that we have all kinds of altered states. So this is a kind of a introduction to subjects that each have their own deep exploration to really understand. Right now, understand that there's this thing called the entropic brain model, and there's this thing called bottom up and top down. In the NeuroVizr experience, we work a lot with bottom up primary consciousness as it relates to top down secondary consciousness.